Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Money Hungry Mama. I am so excited because I have one of my dear author friends, Kim, here today. Kim, take it away.
Everybody, I am author Kim Ann. We're going to talk everything books today that all your mamas are dying to know about. Okay, so take it away, Brittany.
I love it. Okay, so Kim, you began your writing journey a while ago during maternity leave. I mean, you've been writing now how long?
When I get to ask this question, I always say I've been a writer forever. I've been writing since I was like really young. I used to try to rhyme words like rice and nice, and write poetry. I wrote magazine articles for about 10 years. I have a special needs son, but that's like goes down a whole nother lane of this conversation. And then once both my kids were in high school, I said to my husband, I'm going to write a children's book. And I spent about a year learning everything I could learn about how that process worked. And that was in 2019. So we're 6.5 years now.
Yeah, I remember you and I were starting at the same exact time. That's how we connected. It was like one of those what do you know? What do you know? What we both help each other with. What made you one day just be like, okay, today is the day I want to write a children's book? How did that spark?
Okay, so I kind of always wanted to do it. I went one time, and this was probably about 10 years before I actually did it. I went to this 3-day workshop that I had heard about how to be a children's author. And I was all excited and I went there. But that was back in the day before indie publishing was as easy as it kind of is now, or and so they talked about traditional publishing and how, you could put all your blood, sweat, and tears in there and sit around for 2 years and no one may ever call you. And it was kind of depressing. So I left there kind of like, okay, it's not the right time. So when I knew it was the right time, as I said, is my kids were in high school. So that was freeing up some of my mornings. And then I learned whatever I could get my hands on. And I knew as soon as I had the right idea, then I knew that's when I was going to do it. And what that idea was, a friend of mine had at the time, she was about a 2-year-old, 3-year-old. And for Halloween, she dressed up like a witch. Now, she was obsessed with her Halloween costume. She wore it like every single day. And her mom kept posting these pictures of her on Facebook. And one day she had these rainbow leggings on with her little witch dress. And I looked at her. I just got chills. I looked at her. I said, oh my gosh, that needs to be a book character. And Ruby the Rainbow Witch was born.
So cute. Okay, so 2019, Ruby the Rainbow Witch, which is an adorable book. I did it with my first grade reading students. We had an after school program. We loved it. We had so much fun, especially around Halloween time. It was such a cute read. So you have Ruby the Rainbow Witch, and then how many books do you have now from 2019?
Okay, so let's say everyone knows they're not all going to be winners, but I've published 28 now. That includes books and translations. And then I did a couple of activity books. And then this year, I'm scheduled to come out with 2 middle grade readers and possibly a picture book. I'm struggling a little bit with that one, but I think it will happen by the end of the year. So I think 3 more books this year.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so for everybody listening, I'm just going to put this in perspective for a second. We started at the same exact time. She has 28 and I think I have 10. Okay. So, it really honestly, it is what you make it, right? It is what you decide what you're going to do with this business and how far you're going to get it to grow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Out of all the books that you have written, which one is your favorite and why?
I get asked this question. So I do, and Brittany knows, I'm pretty much at an author event like every weekend. I have no life.
Crazy.
And I get asked this question every single weekend. So it kind of depends. Where Do Mermaids Go on Vacation is super fun and a really popular book. Ruby the Rainbow Witch, A Picture Perfect Rainbow Day, with a whirl and twirl of her rainbow dress and a wave of her swirly whirly wand is kind of my favorite. And it is a teacher's pick on Amazon for the last 4 years. So it is a really fun book. So it's probably my favorite because it was the first.
Yeah. There's something about your first.
It is. Yeah.
Children's books, it's all the same, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, how cute. Okay, so when we talk about this, I mean, you have 28 books. I know some of that is including translations, but illustrations are crucial, right? Like we say, if you have terrible illustrations, your book's not going to sell. It's that simple. If they're not
Yes.
good, it's not going to sell.
Right.
How have you found collaborating with illustrators and things like that to bring these stories to life?
So I was super lucky, super blessed right out the gate. Okay. So I was a brand new author. I had taken this course on how to, be a self-published author. And she talked about how like you need to find an illustrator. So I was in author illustrator group, which I know you know what I'm talking about. Back then it was a lot easier to do. Now, if you post in there, you don't know what you're going to get. But back then we were all kind of new and looking for each other. And I put a post out and I was like, I'm a new children's book author and I'm looking for someone to do a children's picture book with me. And it's going to be 32 pages and full color and who's on board, right? So I got about 20 illustrators that responded. And so I put out a little challenge and I was like, okay, I never told anybody who she was. I said, I'm looking for someone that can illustrate a 6-year-old little girl with long curly hair in a twirly dress. So my daughter, as you know, Brittany, has like the long corkscrew
Yeah.
curl. And so it kind of like, I wanted it to resemble her, but I didn't really say anything. And she was going to be a witch, but I knew she would have like a twirly dress on, but I didn't want to say it was a witch because I didn't want it to be a dark witch at all. It was going to be like this, 6-year-old girl, like, just embraced with happiness and fun, right? So I sent that out and I got a few back. But the day I opened Nejla's, so Nejla Shojay has been my illustrator for all of my picture books. The day I opened that email, she was one of the only ones that did it in color as well. Like some people sent me a pencil sketch, but she sent me this little girl, and I still get chills, with this pink twirl dress on, and she just nailed it. And I knew, like, I'm like, this woman is inside my head, and we've done she's been my only illustrator. She's amazing, and she gets me. So I've been very, very lucky, blessed. Like, and I know a lot of authors, and I think you even went through this yourself, Brittany, where you're like trying to do a series and you end up sometimes having to change
Yep.
creators. I've been really lucky. Some of my characters show up in other books, and I think that's really fun for kids if they're reading, all of them.
For sure, for sure. I mean, you definitely hit it right out of the gate. And I just want everybody listening to know that especially now, is not always going to be the case because AI has kind of creeped its way in. And I just want it to be said here because it is so important. Do not use AI illustrations because you do not own them. It is literally a law that you cannot copyright them, which means that if somebody comes back and says that they want to be your illustrator and they make this AI creation, guess what? Anybody can run and use that. Anybody can make plushies, anybody can make characters, anybody can do anything with it, and you can't do anything because technically you can never own an AI illustration. So it's so important to find an illustrator, just like Kim did. I mean, she was so lucky right out the gate to be
Yes.
able to have this person help her do 20 books. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I do want
Oh,
to talk about the AI thing really quickly. The AI illustrators will not necessarily be honest out the gate. And I do it for some of you guys that know, like I coach, right? So I help with a lot of things. And someone reached out for help with their Amazon page. And, they sent me their PDF file to make them some A+ content, which is like extra pictures on the Amazon page. And I looked at it and I said, I think these are AI. And they're like, no, no, we had an illustrator. We paid our illustrator, blah, blah, blah. And I blew up the pictures and they were absolutely AI. So like one eye was like a different size than the other eye. There was like
no.
an animal that only had one eye in the middle. Like, and if you like you real because I know you're excited, guys. Like you're like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, someone's brought my vision to life. But you have to be really, really careful because they are really, really good and sneaky. So
Yeah.
be really, really careful.
For sure, for sure. And I always say too, like, Kim, luckily, like back in the day, we didn't have to worry about this AI situation. So it was okay to get a colored illustration right into that. But let me
Yeah,
tell you right now, I asked for a sketch. I physically say,
yeah.
let me see that sketch, then let me see the color because you never know. You never know. I've helped so many authors and so many of them. I'll never forget this. It pains my heart. She was like, no, trust me. And she was like, I paid the illustrator. I'm like, girlfriend. I was like, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it. The main character looks different in every single page. I'm like, this is 100%. And sure enough, she never got a sketch. She never got, all of those back end things. And she had to hire somebody else and fight through Fiverr is what she used. So if you're going to use Fiverr and Upwork, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, it is a little bit sketchy. because there are just a lot of people trying to make a quick buck. So just pay attention to those. Readsy kind of vets theirs a bit more. Like if you're going to go to Readsy, or you can look in Facebook groups. But again, now it's kind of spammy. There are a lot of people to watch out for. But, it just is taking a gamble. But if you ask for a sketch and then you compare your sketch to your colored, you should be okay. And anything that looks Pixar, mm-mm.
Yeah. No, no, no. Yes. And so I'm just going to put that out there. Like I know we're the hungry money mamas, but sometimes you need a coach like
Yeah.
Brittany and I mean, to help you so that you find these things early.
No, for sure. I definitely think, if you have questions or concerns, like right out the gate, it does make sense to at least schedule a call with somebody to be like, hey, like, do you think this is working? There are a lot of great coaches out there. Just do your due diligence. There's a lot of shiny looking coaches out there, and there's a lot of great coaches out
I
there.
mean, that's like advice for life anyway,
Yeah,
no matter what.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so now that you have all these children's books, I think it's
Mhm.
important to say you founded the Lucky Four Press. Now, can you explain why you made a press?
Yes. Okay. So right before I came out and as I said, I did a lot of research on my own and I had read that it's good to have an imprint name so that your book on Amazon doesn't just have your name. So, or doesn't say independently published because, the people that run in our circles, Brittany, like we want to compete with traditionally published books. Some of the authors have both traditionally and independently published, but we want our book to be at that high standard. It was recommended to come out with an imprint name. So I came out, I talked to my husband about it and I was like, okay, I want to think of something cool. And, you're going to Google it, make sure no one else is using it. And I was throwing around some names and he goes, and it's funny, my husband is like really good at this kind of thing and randomly went, I think you should call it Lucky Four Press. And I said, why is that? He goes, well, there's four of us in our family and we're very lucky to have each other. You know what I was like? It's so cute. And no one was using it. So Lucky Four Press was born. And then about a year later, I did do the LLC with it when I realized that it might be, it was more than one book. But so I was lucky to go from Lucky Four Press to Lucky Four Press LLC. So that's how that came about.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's making me feel like mine is called Once Upon a Page Press, and it's just because I love Disney. So it's like makes me think of like fairy tales. But that
Very
is really
cool.
sweet. I should have asked for help.
I like it.
Thanks. I love yours. That is so sweet. So after you decide your imprint name, like Kim's saying, like you don't want to have your own name because like we really do want to compete with the traditional publishers, and it just kind of brings that extra spark to it. But right after that, you should get an LLC. I don't know. Every state has different rules, right? Like in New Jersey, if you make more than $600 that year, it has to get taxed. So you just want to make sure that you have your own business so it's not kind of coming out of your own pocket at the end of the day. So just look into your state and your rules for sure. Okay, so you have also run a Kickstarter campaign.
Few.
Talk to us about Kickstarter because I think that is a beast in itself.
It is. And I'm going to preface this by saying that in the last couple of years, a lot of things have changed. I did a Kickstarter, which was kind of unheard of at the time, for two books because they were kind of coming out at the same time. It was Ninja School Rules, which was a book that I wrote for my daughter's a fourth degree black belt in Taekwondo. And her Master Vo had said to me, ma'am, I think we should write a book. And I said, what would the book be about? And he said, all the really great things about martial arts. And I was like, sure. So I wrote this Ninja School Rules kind of on the side. It's a little bit different than my other book, Social Emotional Learning Story. And I had already had the 10 Little Sandpipers, which was the book I had planned to come out with my first counting rhyming book. And so it kind of was like at the same time. And I was talking to someone and I was like, I think I'm just going to do them both as a Kickstarter. And everyone was like, well, they're kind of not like the same, like, isn't that two different audiences? And I'm like, yeah, but maybe they'll get one of each. Right? And because think about it, on kids' bookshelves, they don't have all the same book.
Yeah, you don't.
And werewolves and rainbow witches and turtles, like they have everything. So, so I ran the first one doing those two books. And I mean, they're really fun. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I'd say that if someone's going to do one, you have to put in the time, you got to be pretty good with Canva or something like that to make, your graphics. They do have Chat GPT now that can help you a lot with all the verbiage, which is nice. We didn't kind of have that when I did my first one. And then you should always make a video because people buy from people. So I did a Kickstarter. I kind of went live every day, like talking about why these books were important and why they were coming out and why I needed the support. And when you do your first one, it's a bit easier. And the reason I say that is because everyone wants to support you, right? Your neighbors, your cousins and your friends and, your other author friends, they really want to support you. So it is a lot easier the first time. I would say that people with realistic goals do better. I know it can be very expensive to put out a book, especially when you hire like a great illustrator. You might not make all that money back on a Kickstarter, but making some money back to help you print or be able to ship them out is good. So I always come in a little bit more conservative. The most I've ever done a Kickstarter for was like $5,000. And some people are doing 15, 20,000. I knew my limitations going in. I have a special needs son, and I knew that if I gave it like 3 weeks of my undivided attention, I could do that, but I couldn't really go longer. So I did a 21-day Kickstarter with a little bit smaller goal, and then just gave it my all. Most people do it for 30 days, and understandably, like you kind of want longer to fund it, but just think about like your commitments at home. If you got small kids, if you're working too, because you do have to be out there pushing it. No one else is going to push it but you. Did that answer the
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and for anybody that's listening, like a Kickstarter is basically putting your book out there before it's for sale and people can buy the book prior. So you're kind of going in knowing that you already have all of these sales. So Kim had said her first one, she tried to raise $5,000, meaning she sold enough books to hit $5,000. When the books got in her hands, she shipped them out. So it is something like it's just kind of pre-selling the book. It's like a pre-order almost.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
if you don't hit your mark, and I think this is something that's so important to note, if she didn't hit $5,000, everybody gets their money back.
Hmm.
So going into a Kickstarter with a plan, it's not like, oh, I'm going to load it today. And then all of a sudden in 30 days, I have no plan of action. I have to put the graphics in there. That's not going to work. You really already kind of have to have a plan in action of how
Yes.
you're going to collect this money and get your books out there.
Yes.
I've been a part of some Kickstarters where their goal was $25,000 and I almost fainted.
I
And
know.
they have like different tiers and things too. So if you are sitting here and you're like, I would love to do children's books, but I don't have the money right now, for sure, look into doing a Kickstarter. Just know it's a lot of upfront work. And if you don't hit that mark, you are going to have to pay everybody back
Yeah, hit it. So
until
like,
you hit it.
and I've coached people on it. I've done a few Kickstarters. I've done some pre-order campaigns. But like the big thing with people is some people don't want to back you for a couple of reasons. One, if they don't think you're going to hit your goal,
Yeah.
it's like they're sitting there going, well, maybe I'll just wait. They wait until oh yeah, they're going to hit the goal. Or you're like, I'm $100 away. And then people are like, okay, I'll back you now. So like, that's one thing. And the other thing is some people don't like to back you until they see that you've already hit. Oh, and now maybe they're going to get some bonuses. So it's kind of funny, but they don't bill you until it actually funds. And yes, you're right. So if it's an all or nothing campaign, there are some other ones like Backward Kid has one and Indiegogo, some other ones where you don't necessarily have to like hit the goal and you can still get the money. But like Brittany said, I just want to say, like, if you're going to do that, you're looking to fund, you have to kind of have some things together to put in your campaign, like at least a book cover, at least maybe a couple of pages. Some can be pencil sketches, but you want to show people like what the book is going to look like. And then, really your why. People love to know your why on Kickstarter. So that's a couple of things. So you don't have to be totally done, but you have to be able to show them something.
For sure. Oh, yeah. I love this conversation because I feel like, I mean, I didn't. I watched a couple Kickstarters. I've been a part of them. I supported in that group that we're in. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to try one. And then I watched as somebody didn't get it. And it was heart wrenching to watch. And it was like, dang, I'm not doing that. So just know that like you have to really stalk a couple. Like at this point, you should stalk a couple to see if it's something that you want. Like I watched Kim go live. I watched other authors be constantly talking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I am not good at that. I was like, I would have forgotten about it today already. So that
Yeah.
just would have never worked for me.
And having to like text people and DM people and yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. But it can be a really
For sure.
worthwhile thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. If you have that personality mindset where you can actually stay on top of it and keep going, power to you. This is definitely an option for you. 100%. I just know me and I'm like squirrel. And then all of a sudden I'm doing like the next thing. So this wouldn't work for me to be so dedicated to that for just like a month. So,
Okay, I would just say most of us creatives are like that as well. I'm toying with the idea of a Kickstarter for the 2 chapter books. We'll see.
oh
I
my
like
gosh. All right, guys, you heard it here first. If you want to start a Kickstarter, check out Kim's next one for her chapter books. And then you just can kind of see what it entails, what it's supposed to look like. Definitely keep us in the loop. Okay. So I do want to talk. I feel like, I mean, you and I have talked about this all the time, all the time. All of the smoke and mirrors that come with doing this, and how, from the bottom of my heart, I love being a children's book author. I've loved being in this space, but I have been fooled quite a few times. So, Kim, raw and real, what is the biggest challenge you have faced being a children's book author?
so I think, the biggest thing up front was the not knowing, right? I told you guys I took like a year to try to learn everything there was to learn. I remember hiring an editor the first time off maybe Fiverr or Freelancer or something like that. And you hire the editor and they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that looks great. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh." And they send me the file and I was like, "Okay, great." When I went to write my second Ruby book, Ruby the Rainbow Witch and the Lost Swirly Whirly Wand, um, it was interesting because I had a different editor, one that came like someone recommended them and she was like super sweet and super quick and all this and she did it and I was like, wow, this book looks nothing like this book. Huh. Wow. And then so I kind of asked some questions and she's like, well, Kim, you guys, there are rules. Did you know there were rules? She's like, well, it's a picture book. It needs to be between this many words and this many words and this many pages. And I'm like, do I think I can hire you to like re-edit this first book? And so it was like I ended up, re-editing the first book so that it was more in line with like the guidelines, more like the second book. And the other thing I kind of got burned on was like the first formatter I used. He just like formatted everything and then gave it to me. And I didn't know about asking about layered files and all of these things, right? And so then when I wanted to make any changes, I had to hire someone to do all the typography again. It was like, so, you kind of learn. So there was a few expensive mistakes, but now I know, right? And now I'm lucky in that point in my career where it's kind of wash, rinse, repeat. Like I have the people I like to work with and so we just kind of move down the line.
For
But yeah,
sure.
I think it's all of us. I've seen authors, a lot of us do 8.5 by 8.5 square, which is kind of like a good size. But a lot of people come out with like landscape books. Then they realize, oh, I can't even put that on Amazon. So like there's some things we just don't know yet. And those are the things that cost us the most money is kind of having to learn by doing, I guess.
For sure. For sure. I think that is so important to know, right? Like when I first started myself, it was learning myself. It was going on YouTube. It was stalking the Facebook groups. It was like, what does this even mean? I remember like the first message I ever saw in the children's book group, I literally had Google right next to it. And I was like looking up words that they were using. It was like PSD files and formatting. And I was like, what does this all mean? Like, I just want to write a book. I just want to write a book. And
Yes.
I'll never forget. And like, I just want everybody to hear this part too, because like it does have rules. It does have rules. And my first question with anybody that I have worked with, I don't even read the manuscript yet. I'll literally just ask, when was the last time you talked to a kid? Like, when was the last time you actually had a conversation with a child before I read this manuscript? Because it is so important to talk to them, to know what they're into, to know how they speak, what they like. Like, and yes, all kids are different 100%. But if you're not getting to their level to write a book, you're going to hand me something that an adult would enjoy more than a child will enjoy? And it's just, you could just ask that question and know. So if you're listening here and you have not talked to a child in a very long time, let that be step number one. Go have a conversation and let them humble you real quick with their thoughts and just enjoy it, because it is honestly one of the best and coolest jobs that I'll ever do.
Absolutely. And I've done this. So I've been doing this a while, but when I was first new at it, I with the mermaid book and the dinosaur book, I had a friend of mine that had like twin girls. They were pretty young. And I would get on Zoom calls with them and I would say to them, okay, so I'm writing a book about mermaids. Mermaids, if mermaids go on vacation, do you think they come out of the water? And they're like, no, because if they come out of the water, they have to kiss a prince and then they get legs. And I'm like, okay, so they stay in. But I get exactly what you mean. And then I'm like, if I'm writing a dinosaur book, what would it look like? It needs to be purple with blue polka dots. And if I'm not, you take a look at the cover of that book, it has a purple dinosaur with blue polka dots. So I totally agree with you, Brittany.
It's so true. It's so true. And their creative brains are just so perfect. Like, if
Yes.
you really want to nail children's books, literally just sit down and, like Kim did, like, spill your ideas. I was a classroom teacher. It was so easy for me to sit there with
Yes.
26 kids and be like, this is my book. Like, what did we think? Did you guys like
Yes.
this? Was this fun? You know, I just think it's so important to hit your target audience. And kids, if kids are your target audience, get to know them, ask them these questions, use your own. A lot of us who started had our own for inspiration. So, oh man, yeah, that would be the top tip I've ever said doing this job, is talk to a child and you will be okay. That, and keep it short and sweet and to the point, because they don't want to sit there for that long.
That's right. That's why we have
Okay.
a limit of words and page numbers.
Yes, that too. Okay. So beyond writing, you, my friend, are a mentor to other
Mhm.
children's book authors.
Yes.
What is a common challenge that you see that a lot of new authors face, and how do you kind of guide them through these obstacles?
So I do a few different things because I pretty much help people from, hey, Kim, I want to write a book and I can help project manage like we were talking. Or the biggest thing I get is other authors that come out to me for anything Amazon.
Oh,
So I am a self-proclaimed Amazon geek, okay? I have no fear of Amazon. I can find screens in Amazon, and I've worked long enough in this industry that I have a really good handle on it. So that's what I help most people with. And so I know you were going to ask me about like what kind of tip can I give people,
yeah.
or people that are listening to want to do it. So the biggest thing is look at your Amazon page as your storefront,
Yeah.
okay? Make sure that your title rocks it. If you need a subtitle, so like if, I have 10 little sea turtles and my subtitle is accounting book. If you need a subtitle, it's there. An eye-catching cover that has been designed by somebody, because it's a this big on Amazon, and I'm squishing about an inch, right? So it has to be eye-catching when people are scrolling through Amazon. Once they get to your Amazon page, you need to tell them in a very beautiful way that they want your book, which means like extra images, A+ content, which is when you scroll down, it shows some of the interior pages. It talks about the meanings of your book, the why you wrote your book, a nice description that tells any parent or teacher why they want your book, bullet points of like why this book is awesome, right? So all of those things, so that when they get to your storefront, it looks really nice and they want to hit buy now. And the other thing is knowing about the back end of Amazon, what a keyword is, what the right categories are, right? So if you launch your book, if you want to have like a #1 new release or a #1 bestseller, you have to be in the right categories for Amazon to be able to show your book to where you want it to go. So for example, in my turtle book, there's categories about turtles. There's categories for counting books, like knowing which is the right ones so that when people type in counting book for 4-year-old, my book will come up. So I think that is like something I'm really good at helping authors. And then if they join other parts of Amazon, like, Vendor Central and stuff, helping them navigate through what that looks like to make a listing. But yeah, I'd say it's, pretty much anything Amazon. I do help some people with Amazon ads, but I prefer to just help set them up for success and see, where that takes them without the extra expense of Amazon ads. So
Yeah. For sure. No, that's such good advice. I remember, after my first book and I didn't market, didn't anything, I really kind of truly believed that I would just put it on Amazon and it would sell on its own, that I didn't have to tell anybody. That was like my bad,
yeah.
my bad. That's not true. For anybody listening that's like, oh, I'll put it on Amazon, it's going to sell. I promise you that does not work. I literally did that and did not work. So my next book, I actually hired help. And here's the thing of why I'm always hesitant. And that's why I'll always, Kim's here too, always be there to answer questions, because when my next book came out, I had actually hired help. And this is why categories are so important. Just to deep dive a little bit, categories are in Amazon, you're allowed to choose 3 categories for your book. And so it's like adult fiction and children's books. And you'll see there's a bunch of different ones to choose from when you get to that point. I ended up in adult horror. I literally hired somebody to help me and ended up in adult horror. Okay, so for me, that's why I'm a little wary. And I just think, really do your due diligence on who you're going to use for coaching in any field that you're doing. If you know somebody that has used them, ask them their experience for sure, because it took me 3 years to get out of adult horror. Like, no Amazon ad would work for me, nothing. I constantly showed up on horror. So, in a lot of my lessons, I would say, don't be me. So, don't be me, and do your due diligence of who you are hiring to help you, not just trying to kind of save a buck by finding somebody that might not be the best fit. So, definitely do your due diligence for sure.
And if you guys don't know, she's talking about a book she has about a werewolf, but it's for like toddlers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a how to.
Yeah. But Brittany and I have talked about this offline, and once she was in the right category, she did very well.
Yeah, it sells
Whiny werewolf
every day.
became very popular.
Yeah, once they realized it was a whiny werewolf for toddlers
Yes.
and not, in the horror section, it does good. It sells every day on its own.
Amazon has the right to override whatever we put in there too. So again, that's why keywords are really valuable. Like for example, if you want to be in, whiny werewolves for toddlers, you have to have words. They have to find words in your keywords or your description that match what the algorithm thinks
Mm-hmm.
it should
Mm-hmm.
be. So it's interesting. Amazon is a beast, but it's a fun one.
Fun for some. Fun for some, Kim.
Yes. For
Kim
Amazon.
loves Amazon. And there's so many different options too. Like Amazon, I would say if you're going to self-publish and you don't want to go to the post office 24/7, even though now they have things that will come to your house like pirate ship. But still, like if that's not something that you want to do where you're packing up, Amazon print on demand is an excellent option to get your book out there, get your feet wet, kind of understand the market, understand all of this with less to lose. I mean, you still have to pay for illustration, you're still going to have to pay for all those things to make the book,
You
but
still have
it's
to
not
set up
coming.
your Amazon page correctly, even if it's print on demand.
Yeah, and don't end up in horror for toddler books.
Correct.
But
Yes, right.
let's take that away from today. But no, yeah, it's definitely a great option to get your feet wet, especially if you're looking into self-publishing. And there's just so many valuable, videos and lessons and things online to be able to help you with that for sure, too.
Yes.
Building a community is essential for authors. And I think you and I have talked on this on multiple times. It
Yes.
can get extremely lonely being by yourself, being an author. How have you kind of cultivated your supportive network?
So for me, it's funny because I want to tell people I'm an introvert, but no one's going to believe it. Okay. So my Kim Ann persona is very extroverted. So, I'm out there in the author world and on social media. And so when I have connections with people, whether it's we write similar kinds of books or, I help you, you help me, like could be, you help me lesson plans, I'll help you with your Amazon ad, that kind of thing. I've built some business friendships that way. Also, I run a couple of groups on Facebook, and that kind of really helps. So I help people promote their ebooks, which has helped build my community pretty well. And like we run some book promotions where some moms and teachers can win bundles of books. So that kind of helps me keep my feet wet and kind of keep me connected with a lot of what's going on in the author community. It does get a bit much, right? Like the groups are so big and, you could spend a whole day in there trying to scroll and learn who's who and what's hot and, so I would say like find a smaller grouping and start a smaller community of your own with like the like-minded authors. I think that would make most sense, than trying to be out there in those groups with, 100,000 other people. Try to find a group, maybe you have 20. Some authors will do like chats, like they have ongoing chats in Instagram or on Facebook where it's kind of a lot of authors kind of at the same level or have been doing it the same amount of time or have a similar book, that kind of just support each other.
For sure. And I definitely think, if you're just starting out today and you're just joining groups, find other people that are just joining today. I mean, like I said, we started the same exact time and we've grown together in so many ways. And it's great because, I mean, here I am like, hey, do you want to be on my brand new podcast? And she's like, you added something else to your plate? And I'm like, yes, I did. Would you like to be on and help me? Yes. I feel like, building these friendships and, it's so important because there's many times in anything that you're doing, in any business that you're doing, that you have questions and having somebody that's at the starting point with you is great because it's not like, I don't know, a lot of times now I feel like it's what can I get for helping you type situation. And
Mhm.
it pains me to see that because I've never been that type of way and I don't understand it. But that's why I love telling you guys to try to find somebody on an even level playing field because you're both learning. You both can grow together. You both are going to bring something to the conversation that the other one doesn't know. And then you're just going to both be successful and laughing about it on, the next crazy venture that you have. So definitely find your people. And one of the best ways to do that for me was Facebook groups. 100%.
Yeah. And it's good because, I can put up, Brittany puts up a post. She knows for sure I'm going to like and comment on it, and
Mhm.
in fact, I sent out a newsletter today and I put that I was going to be on your podcast with a link to your,
Sweet.
so, so we can help each other that way too, like
For
each
sure.
other's posts, comment on them, share them when they're relevant. Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah, it's really nice too. And I mean, I'm gonna put it in the show notes too for anybody that is listening that already has children's books. Like she said, Kim has a ebook promo Facebook group, which means that if, she'll say, hey, does anybody have mermaids books for the first week of June? And then all the authors that have mermaids book will be like, me. And she puts us all in a group together and she organizes this incredible free ebook promo week with literally, it doesn't cost me a thing to say, hey, I have that book. I can help that book. And then all these authors are working together and, sharing each other's networks to kind of grow. So I will put that in here for anybody that's listening that does have kids' books. 10 out of 10, just a great way to network through the internet and bring more of the same audience because we're all children's book authors. We all have the same audience. So come join that community because it honestly is fantastic. And Kim did a great job. You're so welcome. Okay. So I think we answered this one, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you could give one piece of advice someone would usually pay for in our community, but it would be for free, what would it be?
So again, I'm going to go back to Amazon because I really think that is a big thing, especially for people that, busy moms who are working, they're going to put their book up on Amazon. It is where people are going to go. Let's be honest. I got a baby shower this weekend and it's a dinosaur theme. Baby shower gifts, books for, they are going to go on Amazon. So just take some time to make sure that your page looks just as cool as the next one. The way that Amazon works is Amazon likes the way that people search for things. So if I'm searching for dinosaur baby shower gifts, I want my book to come up. So when you do a keyword, that might be one of your keywords. So any way that people look things up on Amazon, you want your book to come up because that's where you want to be shown. Those are the kinds of things that should be included in your keywords, but also your book description or a subtitle, any way to help Amazon say, oop, I'm going to show Kim's book. I'm going to show Brittany's book. So that would be my, just like really spend the extra time because some people just throw it up there. They don't even ever look. If you go on to any Amazon page and you scroll down, you'll be able to see the categories on the left side. I'll work with authors that have had a book out for a year or two. and there's like no category showing.
Yeah.
And so of course that book's not selling. Amazon has no idea what they're even trying to sell there. So really take the time, look at other Amazon pages of successful books, and then I'm not going to say copy it, but follow the flow of what they did and make it apply to your book.
For sure. For sure. And honestly, a great tool. If you're not 100% on what we're saying, a great tool is Publisher Rocket. That is
It
a
is.
fantastic, worth every single penny. If you know me at all, you know I don't like to spend money on things that is not going to be beneficial. And Publisher Rocket has never let me down. It
Yes.
helps you with categories, it helps you with keywords. So for sure, if you are listening, I know the price. It's it
Yes.
went up since I bought
Yes.
it, but it's yours for life after you pay that one-time fee.
That is going to run out. So when you listen to this podcast, go on to her Publisher Rocket, and then Brittany can put a little link below because that's good to refer people. It is going to go eventually to an annual membership. So you want to buy it now that we're talking about it.
For sure. Okay, I'll make sure that I get this out before that happens for you guys, for
Yes.
sure. For sure. Okay, and the last and most important question, what does being a money hungry mama mean to you?
It's funny. I read this question. I was like, So I would say to me, it's not like chasing cash, right? Like, I don't want to say like I chase the cash. It means building something meaningful that helps me, fulfills me, makes me happy, and helps my family, right? I think that's what I would say. I think it's a bigger picture. It's not just chasing the cash, right? Okay.
I love it. I love it. You were like, and I'm just like laughing because she was like, is there a wrong answer? And I'm like, no, it's what you feel in your heart. So, oh my gosh, I think you nailed it. I can't believe you thought anything was wrong with that. That's so perfect. No, no, it's so true. It's so true. It's just, for anybody that's actually listening, I know that there is something on your heart that you want to accomplish, that you want to do, and you're feeling all the same things. And, this community is all about bringing us all together. And today we had the wonderful Kim. And let me tell you right now, yes, I myself have helped hundreds of people. Kim has helped me in so many mental breakdowns. Like, there has been so many spiraling moments, especially, I'm being so honest and real, and I never lied to you guys. It's the smoke and mirror moments. When you watch some of these posts in Facebook, I really need you to understand something. If you're watching some of these posts on Facebook, some people will show you numbers of what they make and what they're doing to bring you to try to buy what they're selling. And there have been times that I have been so close to spending a lot of money on things. And I would text Kim and be like, Kim, did you see this? And she goes, absolutely not. And then she opens up the picture and shows me the difference. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, I didn't even notice the ad spend or things like that. So if you are really wanting to do this, just know, really do your research. I cannot say that enough. Just do your research and check who is going to be the person that helps you, because I have definitely been burned one too many times. And Kim has had my back so many times to be like, please stop spending money on certain things without asking me first. And I'm like, okay, sure.
Gosh, that's just the benefit of being my friend, Brittany, I guess.
I know, right? No, it's so true. But know that, like, this actually is an incredible community and there are so many supportive people. And if you ever are wanting to question or, have saw something that you want to take a better look at, just shoot me a message and I absolutely will tell you. But I could tell you I wholeheartedly trust Kim. And that is why she is on this podcast, because she knows what she's doing and she has helped me come out of horror. And I never thought that was going to happen. So, Kim, for that, I am forever grateful, because now the Whiny Werewolf sells every day with no ad effort because Amazon knows I'm a toddler book.
Yes, and it's an adorable book. So guys haven't read it, pick it up.
Thank you. Well, Kim, where can our listeners support you?
Yes. Well, I'm pretty much everywhere. You can follow me on social media at Author Kim Ann on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, I don't know, everywhere. My website is authorkimann.com, but I do like to hang out on Instagram. If anyone is local to me in Huntington Beach, California, stop by and visit me at one of my events. I always post where I'll be. Sign up for my newsletter. Thank you, Brittany, for having me. Thank you guys for listening. I hope this has been a helpful podcast today.
It absolutely was. Thank you so much. And everybody else, stay hungry.